Hey there, I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss with a quick winter weather update for you. It has definitely been a whirlwind with our weather already. We have seen the cold air already arrived. It is here and it's going to be lasting for a minute or two. So just buckle in and get ready to just ride out this cold wave. Now we are also tracking a few winter weather precipitation chances for us really for tomorrow. That is the main concern right now. The cold weather is definitely top of mind, and right below that will be that winter weather. So let's talk a little bit about it. Here is a look at our radar outside right now. It's just fine. We're not panicking about the radar at all. In fact, things look absolutely great out there as far as we are concerned with what we need to be looking at on our end. Things are clear today. It's definitely a very nice and sunny day, so that's good news for us. There's a look at that radar for you. Now, as we head into the next few hours, we're going to start to see some cloud cover really starting to build in and become a thicker cloud cover situation, especially as we prepare for this snowfall to arrive. Here's a closer look here at home. As of right now, we're not even looking at many clouds in the sky. 24-hour temperature change shows just that. In fact, right now it is cold outside. We're definitely going to see those temperatures staying cold. And if you believe it or not, we are seeing a 9-degree temperature difference here in the metro Atlanta area. So keep that in mind. Marietta, a 10-degree temperature difference. So even though it was very cold yesterday, during this time, that's when we really started to see those temperatures plummeting. So these numbers aren't as drastic as what we were looking at yesterday, but it is still very, very cold outside. You can feel the wind kind of aiding in that wind chill as well. Here's a live look at our Arizona Avenue camera. The great news is the cloud cover is staying at bay for your Monday. It is a great, beautiful shot of the city. Nice, beautiful cobalt blue skies. 30 degrees right now, but it feels like 19. It feels so cold outside, and that's because we have that 15-mile-an-hour wind and that dew point is very low. So that's aiding in all of this cold weather, and that dew point is going to be very important too as we start talking about the winter weather that's arriving. Here's a look at tonight. It's going to be another cold one. 1 a.m. 21 degrees. We won't start to see that cloud cover really building in until we get really close to Tuesday morning. In fact, around 7 a.m. we'll start to see those clouds creeping on in just ahead of the front. Now, I want you to remember, it's not going to be snowing all day on your Tuesday. And honestly, the temperatures and the timing, that's the one thing that we are trying to nail down right now because models are ever changing. We do have a weather impacts alert for today until Wednesday morning. We extended it just a little bit because of that cold weather. The cold air is going to be sticking around for a while. In fact, we'll be 60 plus hours below freezing, and we've already started that timer already. You need to protect those pipes. You need to protect your pets and your people because it's definitely going to be very cold outside. You don't want to see anyone left out in the cold at this moment. Here's a look at our feels like forecast track. This is almost just as important as the snow. While the models through snowfall are definitely something that we will get into, the cold weather is definitely something that all of us can feel and all of us know is currently happening. And it doesn't matter where you are in the state of Georgia, that cold is going to continue to impact you. So 18 degrees in Atlanta, that's what it's going to feel like at 6 p.m. tonight. So if you're maybe watching on your phone, maybe watching, away from your home and you have to go somewhere in the evening hours, just a reminder, you need to bundle up. Don't let that sunshine fool you. It is not warm outside. It does not feel like 50 degrees at all. Now around 10 o'clock tonight, if you work third shift or you have any late night plans, it's going to still feel very cold. It doesn't matter where you are. The warmest it could feel is maybe 23 degrees. And that's brutally cold. Tuesday morning, I know a lot of kids might have to go back to school for your Tuesday, but here's the deal. Some schools are going to start to make the call on remote learning, maybe half days. So if you know someone who has to go to school tomorrow, or even you going to work, Tuesday morning is going to be very cold. It could feel like 17 degrees here in the metro Atlanta area. In Dalton, in northwest Georgia, feeling more like 7 degrees. Down in Thomaston, feeling more like 20. As we head into the afternoon hours, if the kiddos have half of a day tomorrow and they have to go home around 12 or 1 o'clock, it's definitely going to continue with that cold air, only feeling like 24 degrees. So this is dangerous cold. This is when we tell people to really use precaution, dress in layers, wear your gloves, your hat, your scarf, whatever you need to do to make sure that you are prepared for that. And unfortunately, this does carry over into your Wednesday morning. In fact, Wednesday morning actually looks a little bit colder than tomorrow morning. And I think that's because of that cloud cover that's going to kind of be lingering around. In Atlanta at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday right now, it could feel like 5 degrees. This is another reason why we went ahead and we extended that weather impacts alert. It's not just for today and tomorrow, but it's also for your Wednesday morning. This is deceiving. I don't want you all to be alarmed by this. Yes, the National Weather Service canceled our extreme cold watch and warning. That does not mean that the threat for that is over. That just means that the time frame has expired. It expired at noon at lunchtime today, but we are still experiencing some very cold air here. The wind chills just don't meet the criteria for us to be an extreme cold watch or a warning. Now, as you can see from our temperatures versus wind chill, this kind of puts into perspective for you what our actual temperature is versus what it feels like outside. So Monday afternoon, that's today, 31, but it could feel like 19 outside. Tuesday morning, 20 degrees, but feeling like 17. And this trend continues all the way into your Wednesday. So 18 degrees, but it feels like 8 out there. That is just something you don't really want to think about here. Here's a look at your planner for tomorrow. A lot of cloud cover for sure. And I know that we are tracking some snow flurries at the very least, maybe even a few snow showers, depending on where you are in the state of Georgia. We're about to get into that. But once again, the cold weather is the first threat here in the next 24 hours. And the snowfall, unfortunately, would be the second threat because we're not tracking much snowfall. But models are changing, and I do mean that they are changing drastically, and some of them are starting to agree a little bit more. We're definitely in agreement of seeing the potential for winter weather. So that's why we have this winter storm watch out. But there's a lot of factors that play into whether we will see snow or not. And that is the big question. How much snow is going to be arriving and where will the snow be falling? So let's time it out. We're going to look at least 2 or 3 different models so that you all can get a good idea of what we are seeing. And it kind of helps you understand the way that we can forecast and why the forecast is so tricky and how we nail it, and we try to nail it as close as possible. So this is one of our short range models we use, and yesterday when I was forecasting for the snowfall, it was showing snow really higher up towards the metro Atlanta area and really coming in a little bit later. But as you can see, down towards the south near Montgomery and Mobile, Alabama, and even further south than Macon, we're starting to see some snow flurries that could develop around 2 p.m. Now, if you know anyone that lives near Macon, I would say that tomorrow is going to be a doozy. Macon's probably going to get a pretty good amount of snowfall. But as it concerns metro Atlanta area, this short range model kind of has us seeing some snowfall around 3:30 in the afternoon. So I would not be surprised if some school systems start to make the call and say, hey, we don't want to put our buses on the road. But as we go into the 5 o'clock hour, that's maybe 2 hours based on this model that we might not be seeing snowfall for at least 2 hours. And that does help when we're talking about snowfall accumulation on the roads. The roads are going to be cold. They're already cold right now. So anything that falls, unfortunately, is definitely going to freeze. So that's another thing that you have to think about is while we're not expecting a lot of accumulation, we are looking at the potential to see some freezing of that accumulation of whatever it is. Now around 5 o'clock on Tuesday evening, this is tomorrow, by the way, we could be seeing some heavier snowfall really near Athens and once again down in Macon. Macon, unfortunately, looks like it's going to get some pretty heavy snow through majority of the day in the afternoon hours. And even as we advance our forecast track here, even the Augusta area seeing some pretty heavy snow. By Wednesday morning, I'm talking about the early hours of Wednesday morning, all of that snow will be gone. We won't be seeing any clouds in the sky. But you can see these arrows. This is our wind gradient, right? So the winds will be very high. That's another reason why it's going to be colder Wednesday morning than what we see for your Tuesday morning. This is our snow potential for that model that I just showed you, right? So the most recent model, that short range model, it shows here in the metro Atlanta area, maybe about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And that's really on target with what I was seeing yesterday. And my best meteorologist suggestion as of right now still falls into that 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Now, as you get towards Eatonton, Sunset Village, Lynette, and that's in Alabama, that's when we can start to see some of those snowfall totals really start to increase. So anywhere from 1.5 to maybe 2 inches of snow. Let's take a look at our American model. This is a long range model. This is new information for this model. This model is starting to have it stretch a little bit further into North Georgia, right? So if this happens around 4:30 p.m., we could be seeing some pretty heavy snow just south of Atlanta, maybe even into Henry County, Rockdale County. You all could be seeing some pretty decent snowfall if this model plans out. The thing is, this is different from the last snow event that we had, and I'll tell you why. The last snow event that we had, we pretty much knew exactly by this time, we knew exactly where the snow bands were setting up. We were just trying to determine how many inches at that point. At this point, the models are still kind of all over the place as far as where the heaviest of the snowfall will be arriving. And as of right now, this American model starting now to show more snow north of Atlanta. So while we were anticipating things to be kind of a little bit below the metro Atlanta area, really the metro Atlanta area being the cutoff zone, right now this American model is saying, nah, maybe not. I'm not sold on this just yet. I think that there is a possibility because we'll have a lot of dry air. So we can't rule it out, but there isn't really a greater possibility that this model will pan out. That doesn't mean to just let it go, but it's something that we have to continue to watch and continue to watch those model updates for that latest data that's coming in. This model also has the snow lasting a little bit longer, especially south of Atlanta around 9:30. And you can see this deep blue color. That is really heavy snowfall that this American model is pulling into us. Now, Wednesday, once again, dry but cold. And the cold weather is not going to help with the melting, unfortunately. We'll have plenty of sunshine, but we're going to just see things kind of still be frozen for whatever falls. So those roads could definitely be treacherous. Now let's take a look at our European model. This is interesting as well. Now, around 3:30 p.m., this model is starting to align a little bit better with that short range model. And yesterday, both of those models were on the same page. Our American model was also on the same page. So we felt a little bit more confident yesterday saying, okay, north of Atlanta, not seeing much snow, but because that American model is changing a little bit, is something that we have to take into consideration. Now, our European model right now showing the metro Atlanta area getting a good amount of snowfall, but it's not reaching as far as north as the American model was showing. Still seeing some pretty heavy snow bands really through Columbus and LaGrange and places like that. And then by 9:30, 10 o'clock, we start to see things taper off just a little bit. But because the temperatures are so cold, the damage will be done. I don't want you to think that this is going to be like January 10th or the 11th. That's around 10 days or so ago. That's not what we're looking at all. This is a completely different setup. The snow's not coming in from the north like what we saw. The snow is coming in from the west, which is a little bit unusual. And on top of that, it's much colder. So that could have greater impacts on our roadways, even though we're talking about a less amount of snow. Here's looking at our model comparison between the American and the European, if you want to see them side by side, right? So during what we consider the heaviest time for the snow bands to arrive, the European model once again has it going straight through the metro Atlanta area, while the GFS still undetermined. It doesn't know if it wants to pull it up north or if it wants to keep it down south. But as far as our snow comparison is concerned, you can see just that when it talks about snowfall totals. Right? We could see some of that moisture coming in on the actual model, but what is that model saying is going to happen? Maybe 1/2 inch still here in the metro Atlanta area. So we don't want you to get caught up on totals right now because 1/2 inch is definitely not going to be causing major impacts. But like I said, as you get into Covington, Eatonton, Thomaston, Peachtree City, LaGrange, if this American model pans out, you could be seeing maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. It just depends on how far things slide up and progress and how quickly that snow falls. I like to show this graphic. This is my Danielle calls it. What do I expect here for the metro Atlanta area? As of right now, we're still thinking around 1/2 inch to 1 inch. This is for metro Atlanta, right? So I say 1/2 inch to 1 inch because the models are all seeming to kind of agree about that dusting to 1 inch. And that's probably the sweet spot as far as it is concerned with the snowfall totals in the metro area. That does not mean that's all we're going to see, right? So we could see as low as 1/2 inch, but if the model overperforms, we still could see around 2 inches of snowfall. And I think that is very important to mention because you definitely don't want to rule out the wrong number, and we don't want to scare you. We don't want to overly hype this up, but there is a chance to see a little bit of snowfall as well. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We do have a weather impact alert for your Tuesday, not only for the potential for snowfall, but also because we have that cold weather in place. And I think that is very important to mention. Now, as we head into the rest of your week, once we get past Wednesday, things start to warm up, and that's going to help a lot with the melting of whatever is on the ground wherever you are. I really want to make sure that people that are in an area where they might not see a lot of snowfall, that they are aware that the roads could be very treacherous. So make sure that you are understanding that probably staying in the house for the next 2 days is the best thing for you, just in case. Because like I said, once things starts falling, and because it's going to be so cold outside, we could be seeing a lot of freezing happening with those roadways. So you don't want to be getting caught on black ice or anything like that. But we're going to continue to watch these models. We're going to bring you as many updates as we can because that's most important. We want to make sure that you are in the know with our forecast and the latest data that's coming in with our weather models. But as of right now, this is what we are anticipating for the metro Atlanta area right now, maybe around 1/2 inch, a dusting to 1 inch. And we're going to continue to watch that model to see which one of these actually pans out. Will it be the American that stretches it all the way up into North Georgia, or will it be the European that kind of caps it just a little bit before we get out of the metro Atlanta area? But for now, I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss, and we will continue to update you right here on 11 Live Plus.